The San Francisco 49ers are entering another fascinating offseason. And if you look closely at the latest developments surrounding the roster, there's a clear theme beginning to emerge. Stability where it matters, calculated risks where the roster needs evolution, and the kind of forward-thinking planning that has defined the franchise during the Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch era. The latest news surrounding the team touches several key areas of the roster, from special teams to the future of the wide receiver room, and even the early groundwork of the 2026 NFL Draft. And when you piece all of it together, you start to see a blueprint forming for how the 49ers want to attack the next phase of their competitive window. Let's begin with a move that might not dominate national headlines, but could quietly become one of the smartest decisions the franchise has made this offseason. The 49ers locked up kicker Eddie Piñeiro to a 4-year extension, a deal worth $17 million with $10 million guaranteed. In the modern NFL, where every roster decision is scrutinized through the lens of salary cap efficiency, this contract represents exactly the kind of calculated value move that championship contenders strive to make. Piñeiro arrived in San Francisco during the 2025 season and immediately stabilized a position that had been anything but stable. After the team decided to move on from Jake Moody, there were legitimate concerns about whether the 49ers could find reliability in the kicking game quickly enough to avoid it costing them critical games. Instead, Piñeiro delivered one of the most consistent seasons any kicker had in the league, missing only a single field goal attempt throughout the year. For a team that regularly plays in tight, defensive battles, that level of reliability is not just nice to have, it is essential. When you break down the financial details, the extension becomes even more impressive for San Francisco. The guaranteed portion of the deal ranks only 4th among NFL kickers, while the total value places Piñeiro around the 8th highest-paid kicker in the league. Even more striking is the yearly average, which positions him roughly 13th among kickers. In other words, the 49ers managed to secure elite-level production while paying closer to middle-tier prices. That kind of roster value is exactly how championship-caliber teams keep their competitive core intact. What makes the move even more compelling is Piñeiro's track record of consistency before he ever arrived in San Francisco. During his time with the Carolina Panthers, he missed only 4 kicks in both 2023 and 2024, and just 2 in 2022. That consistency across multiple seasons suggests that what the 49ers saw in 2025 was not a fluke. It was simply the continuation of a reliable kicker entering the prime years of his career. And this is where the strategic element becomes clear. Special teams rarely get the spotlight, but organizations that compete for championships understand that hidden yardage and clutch kicking moments often decide playoff games. By securing Piñeiro through the next 4 seasons, the 49ers eliminated a potential weakness and ensured stability in one of football's most pressure-filled roles. While the kicking situation is now settled, another area of the roster is anything but certain. The wide receiver room in San Francisco could undergo significant changes heading into the 2026 season, and the ripple effects could reshape how the offense functions moving forward. Right now, the situation is fluid. Jauan Jennings is heading toward free agency, and his return is far from guaranteed. Meanwhile, the long-term future of Brandon Ayuk remains one of the biggest unanswered questions on the roster. If Ayuk has indeed played his last snap in San Francisco, that leaves a major production gap that must be addressed. Currently, the only wide receivers firmly under contract include Ricky Pearsall, Demarcus Robinson, Jordan Watkins, and Jacob Cowan. That's a group with potential, but it lacks proven high-volume production outside of Pearsall. And when you consider how central the passing game has become to Shanahan's evolving offensive system, the front office clearly understands the need to add more weapons. One potential answer could come from free agency in the form of Alec Pierce. The former Indianapolis Colts receiver is hitting the market at the perfect time after posting the first 1,000-yard season of his career and leading the league in yards per reception for 2 consecutive seasons. Pierce is one of the most explosive vertical threats available, and that specific skill set could add a completely different dimension to the 49ers offense. His deep ball ability would pair intriguingly with quarterback Brock Purdy. Purdy has proven he can execute Shanahan's timing-based system with precision. but adding a receiver who consistently stretches defenses downfield could force opposing secondaries to adjust their coverage schemes. That adjustment, in turn, could open more space underneath for the short and intermediate routes that define the Shanahan offense. But the 49ers aren't just looking at free agency. They are also laying the groundwork for potential draft additions, and one name that continues to appear in mock drafts is Indiana wide receiver Omar Cooper Jr. Cooper brings a fascinating profile to the table. At 6 feet tall and 199 pounds, he combines speed and explosiveness with excellent route running and body control. At the NFL Scouting Combine, Cooper posted a 4.42-second 40-yard dash, a 37-inch vertical jump, and an impressive 1.55-second 10-yard split. Those numbers reflect the kind of acceleration and burst that modern offenses covet. From a stylistic standpoint, Cooper appears to be the type of receiver Shanahan could design creative plays around. His ability to generate yards after the catch and break tackles in open space fits perfectly within the 49ers' offensive philosophy. Shanahan has long prioritized receivers who can turn short completions into explosive gains, and Cooper's lower body strength allows him to power through defenders in a way that could make him dangerous in screen passes and quick slants. However, the evaluation is not without concerns. Some scouting reports note that many of Cooper's biggest plays occur when he is already operating in open space rather than making contested catches in tight coverage. While he has shown flashes of high-level ball skills, there simply isn't enough consistent evidence of him winning those difficult one-on-one battles against physical defensive backs. Another issue that could raise eyebrows within the 49ers organization involves run blocking. Shanahan's offense demands wide receivers who are willing and able to contribute in the run game, and Cooper's draft profile mentions disappointing effort when asked to block. In a system that often operates under the internal mantra of no block, no rock, that could become a major factor in the team's evaluation process. At the same time, the coaching staff has a strong track record of developing receivers and demanding accountability within the system. If they believe Cooper's blocking concerns stem more from technique than effort, they may feel confident that they can develop that aspect of his game. Meanwhile, the 49ers are also continuing their defensive evaluations ahead of the draft. One prospect who recently met with the team during his pro day is Ball State defensive end Nathan Voorhees. Voorhees had an impressive 2025 season, recording 51 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, and 12 sacks while earning first-team All-MAC honors. He also forced 2 fumbles, demonstrating the kind of disruptive ability that defensive coordinators love. For a team that prides itself on maintaining one of the most aggressive defensive fronts in football, finding rotational pass rushers is always a priority. Adding depth along the defensive line has been a consistent theme during the Shanahan-Lynch era. The philosophy is simple: pass rush depth wins games in December and January. If Voorhees proves he can translate his college production to the professional level, he could eventually develop into a valuable rotational piece. All of these moves and potential additions highlight something important about the 49ers organization. They are not simply reacting to roster holes as they appear. Instead, they are constantly planning 2 or 3 steps ahead. Locking in Piñeiro ensures stability on special teams. Exploring wide receiver options prepares the offense for possible departures. Evaluating defensive prospects keeps the defensive front strong for the future. Right here in the middle of this conversation, if you love deep breakdowns of NFL roster strategy and want to stay ahead of every move your favorite team makes, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way you never miss the next in-depth analysis of the biggest stories shaping the league. Looking ahead, one more factor could dramatically influence how the 49ers approach the rest of the offseason. The future of star left tackle Trent Williams remains one of the most important storylines for the entire roster. Williams has been the anchor of the offensive line for years, and his presence allows the offense to function at its highest level. If the 49ers can secure his long-term future, the front office will have more flexibility to focus on skill positions like wide receiver. But if uncertainty remains, the priorities of the entire offseason could shift toward protecting Purdy and stabilizing the offensive line. That's the delicate balancing act every contender must manage. Do you invest heavily in weapons for your quarterback, or do you reinforce the infrastructure that allows those weapons to succeed? The best teams find ways to do both. For the 49ers, the next few months will reveal how they plan to strike that balance. The Piñeiro extension already demonstrates their willingness to reward reliable performance while maintaining financial efficiency. The potential additions at wide receiver signal a desire to keep the offense dynamic and explosive, and the continued evaluation of draft prospects shows that the organization is always preparing for the next generation of contributors. In many ways, this is what sustained success in the NFL looks like. It's not just about star players or splashy headlines. It's about building a roster where every position is carefully considered, every contract has a purpose, and every draft pick fits into a larger strategic vision. And if the 49ers continue executing that plan the way they have in recent years, they won't just remain contenders. They'll remain one of the most intelligently constructed teams in the entire league. Before you go, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Should the 49ers prioritize signing Alec Pierce, draft Omar Cooper Jr., or focus more heavily on the offensive line? And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss the next deep dive into the moves shaping the future of the San Francisco 49ers.